Hello from sometimes sunny, sometimes rainy, sometimes cold, sometimes windy, sometimes sunny again, Scotland. What brings me here is this. This is the new third generation Audi Q3 and it's a model of great interest for us in India because it's always had a huge fan following. While it has been Audi's entry-level model, it is still quite aspirational in its own way. Question is, just how much of a step forward does this model take? But before I begin, what do you think of the new Audi Q3 and would you have one over a BMW X1 or a Mercedes GLA? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Autocar India channel and hit that bell icon to be notified every time we have a new video up. There's going to be lots to talk about. The way the new Q3 drives, space, comfort and even some cool tech. But before all else, let's talk design. Now the old Q3 was all about angular looks. This one takes a whole different approach to styling. Of course, it starts with the headlights. Now you don't get a single headlight. You get a split headlamp arrangement. Up top you get DRLs. This one gets matrix LEDs, so a lot of permutations and combinations of light signatures that you can have. The low headlight beams are positioned over here, and these are your main units. This being an S-line trim, you get a lot of black cladding and I think it looks superb. I hope Audi gets it to India as is. You also get the large Audi single frame grille, you get Audi's new 2D logo, and on the whole this is actually a very attractive looking car. It looks better in the metal than it does in the pictures. A cool detail, the radar for the ADAS system sits hidden behind the logo. In size, the Q3 is all of 40mm longer than the outgoing model, while the wheelbase remains unchanged. The Q3 has always had this compact and tight look about it, and you get that here as well. Except the bonnet section looks a bit elongated, but on the whole, this is still a vehicle with a compact footprint and many will like it for just that. On the whole, styling is neat and tidy, clean lines as you'd expect on an Audi. The roofline also conventional on this SUV version. There is also a Sportback which gets a coupe-like roofline. Wheel sizes start at 17 inches while top spec versions like this one get 20 inches. You can expect 18 inches to be the norm in India. Also, here's hoping we get some exciting looking wheels this time around. Now, like the front, styling at the back is also a huge departure from the Gen 1 and Gen 2 Q3s. There are a lot more details and particular attention has been given to the lighting. So you get this full width light bar that sort of divides the rear section into the top half and the bottom half. And these are OLED tail lamps, so they get their own light signatures which you can modify at the touch of a button on the touchscreen. The Audi logo also illuminates, which is something that we've seen on the latest lot of Audis. Again, I really like this black effect on the bumper, which is exclusive to the S-Line. Hidden behind the tailgate is a very usable luggage area. The Q3's power tailgate opens to reveal a pretty usable and large luggage area. It's really nicely shaped so you can fit in large suitcases with ease. And when you need more space, the rear seats split and fold 40-20-40 so you can carry oddly shaped items as well. What's also really nice is that there is space under the boot floor. Now this one has a subwoofer here, but there is space for a spare tire, and that's something I'm sure Audi India will equip on the version that we get. The Q3 is built on the latest iteration of the Volkswagen Group's MQB platform, which among other things enables the latest of in-car tech, and you see that inside. Now, first things first, in the new Audi Q3, you still get that elevated driving position that really puts you at ease in the chaos of India's traffic. What I also really like is the driving position adjustable with manual steering adjust and powered seats. The seats are really comfortable. What I really like is the steering, very nice to hold and packs in quite a few features, and these are nicely done buttons.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Thank you. Okay. In its general look and vibe though, the Q3 has evolved quite a bit. You get these two screens and the center screen is positioned slightly and angled slightly towards the driver. It gives a slightly sportier vibe to the cabin. I really like the use of materials. There's this metal-like finish on the dashboard, Alcantara on the dashboard top, and a generous use of gloss materials that really liven up this interior. You also get contrast stitching. I hope something we see in India as well. Quality in general is good, but if you poke around, you will find some hard plastics lower down, but that is something we've seen on all models in this class. Now coming to the tech on board, the showpiece is the 12.8-inch touchscreen. Now it takes the place of most buttons, so you don't get those lovely feeling clickety climate control buttons that you got on the older Q3. Those are now hard-coded onto the screen. It is still in easy access, easy sight, but would have just been easier to go with physical buttons. The screen itself really slick to use. It's based on an Android operating system, so customizable in many ways. You can download a whole lot of apps, so you can really personalize it to your liking. It's really slick, very responsive, and just very nice to use. The screen is your control for car functions, ambient lighting, exterior lighting signatures, and loads more. And before you ask, it also packs in wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. What is a bit disappointing though is the resolution of the camera system. Now you get 360-degree cameras, you get a good view of the world around, but it's not in the crispness that you'd expect on a car of this price. Then there's the 11.9-inch virtual cockpit digital dials. Again, very nice to use, very high res. Just check out the map view, really easy to refer to. You also get a couple of themes and views that you can play around with, but you don't get the same level of adjustability that you get in the latest lot of Mercs and their MBUX system. Also included for the first time is head-up display that gives direction, speed, and other warnings in clear sight. Now speaking of the new Q3's driver environment, there is one big change, and that is the gear selector is now repositioned to this stock. So you get park, reverse, neutral, drive, sport as you do. It's just a button here, and honestly it is pretty easy to use. You get your traditional paddle shifters behind the steering wheel as well. The other side of the stock is equally interesting because it's a fixed stock with dedicated buttons for the lights, the wipers, and wiper speed toggle. So everything is bundled up here. It is a bit unusual to see at first, but on the go you get used to it very quickly. Now the benefit of repositioning the gear selector up here is that you get a lot of space on the center console. So if you move this tray, you get a wireless charging pad here, you get two cup holders here, as well as a pretty huge box under the center armrest. With no increase in the wheelbase from Gen 2 to Gen 3, space at the back is expectedly similar. Now the Q3 isn't a hulking SUV, and you feel as much when you're sat at the back. There is an adequate level of room for two adults to sit in comfort. Now I'm just under 6 feet tall, the driver's seat is set to my driving position. I'm comfortable on knee room, well taken care of on headroom, so I can really enjoy this back seat for a long enough journey. But fitting in a third passenger would be quite a squeeze. Now talking of features at the back, you do get some level of seat adjustability, but it's not primarily for comfort, it's rather to make more space for luggage. So the backrest can be brought forward, and that frees up a few crucial liters at the very back. And if you need to fit something larger, you can slide the seat forward as well. Now, as for the other amenities, you get two USB Type-C charging ports, dedicated AC vents, as well as a dedicated zone for the climate control system. This very car doesn't have a sunroof, but that is a feature that will definitely come to India. Scotland is gorgeous and is home to incredibly scenic routes. The roads in the countryside are relatively narrow, but that's not a problem for the compact Q3. Its small size is actually a virtue, be it in rural Scotland or downtown Mumbai. The latest Gen Q3 will have petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrid options in markets abroad. India will get the Q3 with a 2-litre turbo petrol engine. Now the Q3 I am driving is with the 2-litre engine that we are all familiar with, except that this one is the 265 horsepower version. It's the same engine that you get in the Tiguan R-Line, the Golf GTI, but this is not the specification we'll get in India. We'll get the 204 horsepower version. Now, while this is the more powerful version of the 2-litre engine, some characteristics are the same. For instance, it's very responsive. It is really eager to build the pace when you press down a bit harder on the accelerator pedal. Even the 204 horsepower versions promise zippy performance with a claimed 7.1 second 0 to 100 kph time. Now, talking specifically of this 265 horsepower version, it is really responsive at low speeds. In fact, the responsiveness can actually catch you off guard. You'll look through the drive modes, you'll look that the gear mode is not in sport. It is that responsive. You would probably like to dial things back a bit down when you're in city driving conditions. The 265 HP version drops the 0 to 100 kph time down to 5.7 seconds and is great fun. What helps make the most of the power is quattro all-wheel drive. Now in Scotland, your weather can change from a summer's day to a winter's day to a monsoon day, all in a matter of minutes. Right now we are in the peak monsoon of the day. So anyway, it's good and reassuring to know that quattro is part of the equipment on the car I'm driving, and it will be standard on the Q3 that comes to India as well. It's an enjoyable thing to drive. Now the Q3 has always been a nice and tight and very neat handler, and that is something that stays on the new gen car as well. It's very obedient to steering inputs. There's a good level of grip at all times, and you get a good feeling of connection with the car. Now, helping to this end is the progressive steering, which is on this version of the Q3. You don't need to give a full steering lock when you're going faster, when the car senses that you're driving enthusiastically. A few degrees of lock will give you all the steering action that you need. The net effect is that it feels quite direct, it feels quite involving. There's more to like about the Q3 as well, which will really be appreciated back home. Now, among the things that the Q3 always got right for India was ride comfort, and I'm happy to report that even the 3rd gen Q3 scores on that front. Now, mind you, this very car is riding on 20-inch rims. We won't get those in India. We'll probably get smaller but more India-friendly 18 inches. Now, what makes this car on its 20-inch rims drive so comfortably is its trick dampers. Now, these have 2 valves and adapt the compression and rebound forces accordingly and at each wheel. So what you get is a pretty absorbent ride, and road manners at high speeds are also very stable, as you'd expect of a German car. Mind you, these Scottish country roads are not the smoothest. They have their fair share of potholes. We also drove the Q3 at night to experience the headlights that do more than just cool graphics. The headlights identify the lane you're in and illuminate it with a carpet of lighting. The carpet also extends to the lane beside you when you signal to overtake. The lights also project arrows to warn you when you're veering off your lane or when there's a vehicle in your blind spot. It's all really nicely done. Now for some really good news. Now Audi might have a long backlog of new models yet to bring to India, such as the A5, the new Q5, the Q6 e-tron, the A6 e-tron, but this Q3 might actually, pun intended, jump the queue. It's scheduled to come to India within 2026, so the wait isn't going to be all that long. You could argue that the new Q3 isn't revolutionary. But at a time when cars are being reduced to gadgets on wheels, the Audi does stand out by being a mechanically sound and enjoyable to drive package. In fact, the combination of a 204 horsepower petrol engine and all-wheel drive give it superior specs to the petrol Mercedes GLA and BMW X1 that it'll rival. We expect pricing in the region of 50 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and for many, it could be money very well spent. The Q3 could be the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.